Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert. Man, that delay. Welcome back to the Ted Show. It is Wednesday. Happy Hump Day. Almost to the weekend, guys. We're halfway through, a little over. I am so excited to have Lauren, the solutionist, back on.
So excited to be back.
I know. I'm so excited. I love all of these topics because I'm learning every time. We have this ongoing series, the Credit to Close Blueprint. And today we're going to specifically talk about disputes, how to know when to file one. It would be nice if I would have spelled dispute correctly, which we'll correct in a minute. But I find anything about credit where I can be educated so important for all of us to kind of embrace. And Lauren, the solutionist, is here to do it. Welcome, Lauren. How's it going today?
Thank you for having me. It's such a privilege to be here with you every time, even to meet you up in the club. It's really just an honor. So thank you again for
stop. No, I just love somebody who has passion for what they do. And I'm not going to lie to you. I think it's very unique that somebody has passion about credit and helping people with their credit because it's confusing to most people. It is confusing. And my belief is that they set it up purposefully to be that way a lot of times. And so to have the solutionist with us and give us some pointers is great. So before we take a deep dive into disputes, tell us a little bit about you.
Well, for those of you who don't know me, my real name is Lauren Dulgheru. I'm called the solutionist. I help people to restore and to remaster their credit profiles so they can make the big purchases their family needs to grow. But ultimately, I like to teach people how to create new streams of income. See, our society has us so ingrained that credit is reserved only to get a mortgage, buy a car, pay for the student loans, the second mortgage when you get in over your head, and to get credit cards so you can buy all the consumable goods and stuff, right?
Right.
But what we don't realize as a society, and what we're really skipping and cutting our own legs off, is credit is options. Credit is more than literally access to unlimited funds. And you want to know what the gate key is for that?
Tell me.
Great credit profile. And one of the biggest misnomers that people think about their credit file is once it's bad, it's bad. They have to wait the 7 to 10 years for things to drop off, that there's nothing you can do. But the great news is this is completely false. You can rebuild and replenish a credit profile at will. At any point, you can rebuild it. You don't have to wait 7 to 10 years, 2 years, whatever that is for the inquiries. You can rebuild at will. You can replenish at will, which means you have access to money and options at will.
Now you make it sound so pretty, and you make it sound pretty and amazing, and that's why I get excited when you talk about it, because most of the time you do hear the naysayers that say you can't do anything, 7 to 10 years. You also have all of the snake oil sales people out there, which is why people generally, when somebody says that they work in the credit arena, there's this immediate
yes.
God, what are you going to try to do that you're not really going to be able to accomplish? What I love about you and total solution trust, right? Is I haven't had enough of that caffeine this morning.
I would share through the computer screen.
You should totally share it. Is that you take a different approach. So give them a little insight into how you differentiate yourself from those other people in your arena.
Oh, it's funny you say that, because even when you say credit repair, my own mind, I face palm, I roll my eyes. And, just like the rest of the world, you get that, okay, great. What's it going to cost me? What are you going to take for me? Am I ever going to hear anything? Am I going to get a result? Because really, you genuinely have no idea. Where Total Solution Trust is different is it's very simple. It's the mission. Total Solution Trust is not about fixing credit. Total Solution Trust is about educating our nation's consumers. Anybody who's buying goods, services, professional services is a consumer. It's really about educating the nation to use credit in the highest and best use that it was originally intended for. I don't know if you caught my live on Facebook, but credit was originally created and intended to buy income and cash flow. And Total Solution Trust, we're teaching people how to restore and remaster and replenish their credit profiles. Yes, you get to make those big purchases your family needs now to grow, but ultimately, we want to teach you how to create new streams of income so that you can be free. We live in the United States of America. We're not free, though. Here's the thing. We're all indentured to go work those 40, 50, 60 hours, that salary. You have to grow the business. You have to get that next deal. Otherwise, your bills aren't paid. And if the bills aren't paid, now you're losing things, right? If you're using your credit for the original intended purpose, you're not losing things. You're gaining cash flow. It's really the truth.
It's so motivating when you talk about it. It's because I think a lot of people, they just feel like you said, they are never going to get out of the hole. So why even dig in?
So you hear credit and you automatically think, fetch my drool bucket. I can't deal with this. Credit is so boring, but it's not. When you realize that you can buy income, you can buy more money coming into your family, it's exciting.
It is
getting
exciting.
that next account, getting that next big account so you can make that next acquisition to bring more into your household and your family, and you didn't have to go exchange 60 hours a week to do so. That is beauty. That is magic. And kids, that is freedom.
And that's what we want, right? But so we're going to do this series, and then we have an event that we're doing on the 22nd of July. So we're kind of leading up to that. But today we're going to talk about disputes. So disputes are a fascinating little chunk of this. And I think all of us who've ever tried to dispute anything got really discouraged pretty quickly because apparently they don't make it as easy or as consumer easy as you would expect. So let's talk about when to know, how to know to file a dispute and what that even means or what that can do.
So let's go back to that real quick. Filing a dispute is not difficult. Disputing simply means that you're bringing into public question aspects and details on your credit profile. Maybe you don't understand where a balance came from. Your name is spelled wrong, or it's inaccurate. Maybe it got mixed with another file or a family member who has a similar name. Maybe your address is incorrect. But the dispute gives the alert to the credit reporting agency and the creditor that you'd like clarity. You're seeking clarification on the account and the various aspects of the account. Filing a dispute, you don't need a magical language. You don't need to sound like a lawyer. You need to sound like yourself. Now, like I said in the last show that we were here, the beauty about consumer credit law is it's written in human English. So literally anybody can go to the FCRA or the FDCPA, read the prescription, follow the timeline steps, and we're good to go. Disputing is nothing more than bringing to light that you have a question. And under law, you as a consumer have the right to question and gain clarity, to verify the accuracy and the completeness of a particular account, alleged account, or listed item. And this initiates the process for disputing. And it brings you into a 30-day window. And then that's where you really enter credit restoration. Is that first phase. Well, other than pulling your reports, because you do need to pull the most recent version of your three Experian, Equifax, TransUnion, soon to be LexisNexis also. Let me put that in there. They're coming up, so it's going to be the big four soon instead of the big three.
Wow, we should do a whole show on that.
It's coming. It's coming. LexisNexis, I remember in college, I don't want to age myself or anything, but using LexisNexis just for legal research. Part of my undergrad is in criminal law. So I remember using it for, case precedents and legal research. But then over the years, you saw it evolve into, consumer data, and everybody's able to access these data. So they're really growing and they're up and coming in their own space at this point.
So let me ask you I have so many questions about disputes, and we had a whole bunch of people ask me before we went live. The main comment, the one that just kept coming up, people would share that they filed a dispute, and even though they knew the information was wrong, they felt like they couldn't get it changed for one reason or another. And I think a lot of us have experienced that. I in the past have also tried to like take off employment that didn't belong to me, and there's all sorts of little things, and felt very frustrated because I felt like nobody was listening. It's not like you can call TransUnion and go, "Hey, dudes." I mean, I guess you can, but boy, I wouldn't want to wait on that line forever.
So let
So
me
what
ask
can
you.
people
Let me
do?
ask you the first. It's an instrumental question. Let me ask you the first question. Who has access to the most accurate and detailed information regarding a consumer?
IRS.
No,
No.
I'm looking at
Social
him.
Security. Oh, me.
You.
You.
You're the first, you're the primary source. You're the first source. Coming from the horse's mouth is always the best source of information. So if you're filing a dispute and they're not removing it, again, the recipe, right? There is a recipe for this. When they're not complying with a consumer saying, the information is wrong and there's proof backing up this claim and they're not removing it, there is a recipe to go and to have it rectified. It's called CFPB, Consumer Finance Protection Board, and they're kind of like the watchdogs for credit reporting agencies and those legislations. So if you're ever finding yourself in a place where you're not able to get legitimately inaccurate information removed or resolved or updated, there is a place to go for that.
Did not know that.
The things you learn when you talk
I
to an
mean,
educator.
the solutionist. That's why you have that name. I love it. I think it's everything about credit, besides the fact that I feel like everybody feels that they can never dig out of it, is they just don't know how to maneuver through it. So let's talk also a little bit about that process with you. Just give them a little sneak peek, because the way you're set up is so different and you take such a different, unique approach. And I love it. So tell them about it, because I guarantee you people are going to reach out and go, "Lauren, I've got a dispute, but I don't know why I can't get it done." So tell them why you're different. And I know we talked a little bit about it earlier, but I really want to take this, set this home with people, because you really do take a different approach.
So let's go right back to why we're different. Credit repair, right? Credit repair, you engage them, you pay them a monthly fee, and they say they're going to dispute these different things. Do you ever learn anything?
No.
Do you ever learn anything other than maybe their back platform where you can upload documents? Are you ever learning anything about the legislation, that recipe that I'm always talking about? No. So that means you are always going to be indentured to a credit repair company or some other snake oil salesman to fix these items unless you learn about the laws and who you are. Again, the beauty is these laws are written in human English. It's really just an educator coming in and breaking down, here's step one, then we do step two, we wait for them for this long, and then we move to step three. It's really breaking it down. That's the instrumental difference. Because credit repair, yes, you might see some results, but you're not going to get that education. You're not going to learn about who you are as a consumer in the American system. You're not going to learn how to navigate, read, or interpret the legislations. You're not going to learn about how to formulate a notice to the credit reporting agencies, collectors, creditors, whatever the case may be, courts, whoever you need to write to. You're not going to learn these things. Yes, they will send out letters for you in their own due time. Do you know if they got sent? Nope, probably not. But hopefully you see changes on your credit reports, right? Total Solution Trust takes a very different approach, not only in the education, but the execution. We take our students by the hand. We teach them how to write the notice. We do it together. We give them the timelines, and they take the action and they learn it. And it's put into those neurotransmitters, this process, just like learning to walk, right? It's just like learning to walk. You had to teach the muscles how to support themselves and to coordinate together. It's just like learning to walk, just with a different application.
You make it sound easy, but that's why you're the solutionist. I think people need to understand that, yes, you technically, it's set up where you could do it yourself, like Lauren has mentioned. It's in human English. You could figure it out. But I think a lot of people get so discouraged. And so to have somebody who actually knows, when we sat down and looked at mine, for example, there were some things on there and you're like, well, did you ask the right question? I just love how you question. And so that process, I know we talked about disputes and that's what we're supposed to be talking about, but I want to give them a little insight into the process. Because when you sat down with me, because obviously I want to be able to talk about this intelligently and not just go use Lauren and I've not sat with you.
Mm-hmm.
So we sat down and I felt very calm, number one, which I never do when I'm looking at credit. And number two, when you pointed things out, you explained it to me, and I loved that part of it. I loved it, and it made me feel like the process was going to be effective and impactful this time because you actually knew the whole backstory and everything behind it.
See, I'm one of those people that I learn by backstory.
Me too.
So I guess it's just, how I learn and how I see things. I like to offer that to everybody that I'm working with. Because, your credit is in the current state that it is because you didn't have an educator, a specialist. You didn't have the classes in high school. You didn't have a mentor teaching you the principles, the process, the processes. So when we have to come in and ask questions and gain clarity to the situation before we can even start creating that roadmap, that path of actionable steps. Think about it. If we hadn't gone through one by one, there would have been actions taken on accounts that were unnecessary.
Right. Right. Well, and I think a lot of people just go in and they really don't understand what to do, which is why this series is so important. All right, I don't want to give too much away. So tell them a little bit about our July 22nd workshop, seminar, whatever we want to call it, and what they can expect.
So the Credit to Close Blueprint excites us as Total Solution a lot. Here's why. It's not just teaching a consumer how to benefit the most from credit. Credit to Close Blueprint is geared specifically towards realtors, real estate professionals, and teaching them how to reclaim those previously lost transactions, those previously lost leads because they were unfundable. There was no site of funding. Nobody knew how to fix the credit. The client wasn't feeling safe engaging a credit repair company, so they were just going to try to get whatever they could. But that's not necessary. And as realtors and real estate professionals, your clients are tied to your paycheck. Your clients are tied to your commission. So you want to make sure that you're able to use every single lead that crosses your path. And if they don't currently qualify now, okay, well, that's not new to the game. We know that. But now, how can we help you turn that around so that you can be profitable, so you can create revenue, so you can give them that value, so you can help them buy the house, so you can show them really, truly, indeed, all things are possible. They came to you and they knew that their credit was marginally questioned, maybe, but then you opened up the door and you showed them that they could buy the house and they could do it in the most beneficial way. And they could even take it a step farther and learn how to create income. And that's where it's going to be so powerful for realtors and real estate professionals is not only are you converting these leads originally that were going to be thrown away, but you're converting them to a transaction, to a monetary value for yourself, but you're also showing the client how important they are. You're not just throwing them by the wayside because they have a question.
I love
You're
that.
really giving them back their own human value and showing them how valuable they are, one, as a human, and two, as a client. Because in any industry, it's not about transactions. It's about relationships. And it's about working with that person and creating that connection and showing them that, truly, indeed, that they are important.
Right.
They matter. Sure, you might not be in the best situation right now. Hey, we've all been there, right? Let's not say that we're perfect. We've all been there. But how are we going to work together to make sure that you're accomplishing your goal, but you're doing it in the safest way?
Yes. It's so good. All right. So you all have to tune in next week, and then you have to go to the link to register. We want to make sure you show up on the 22nd of July.
Yes. Make sure you register so that we have lots of coffee and snackies.
Yes.
If you've met me, I'm all about the gallons of coffee. So.
All right. How do they reach you, Lauren? What's the best way for them to find out more?
The best way to find out more is I would go to Facebook, Total Solution Trust, at Total Solution Trust, or at The Solutionist. But of course, you can always find us on our website, totalsolutiontrust.com. You can also email info@totalsolutiontrust.com, and we do respond to emails throughout the day. We're very easy to reach. We're all over the internet. You can find us on YouTube. Send us a comment, and we'll be able to reach out to you that way.
Fantastic. All right, Lauren, the Solutionist from
Thank you
Total
so much
Solution
for having me
Trust.
back on.
Love it. So we'll see you next week, guys. We're going to do this every week leading up to the July 22nd event. And so if you have any questions in between, shoot me an email or text or message me, and do the same to Lauren. We'd love to answer them. We'll take a different topic next week, all in the same realm of credit. Lauren, you're the best. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on, Tan. I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to seeing you next week.
Me too. All right, guys. We'll see you later.